Hello, welcome back. So, I feel like every time there's a big deal announced, like it's made into a big deal. But so if there's like a celebrity, a politician, or all of these, seven-figure big auction deals that get announced, there's always some chitter chatter about like, they're taking the money from us. And
So,
it always gets me. So I
yeah,
want
in
to
this case, we're talking about a very recent announcement that Leigh Bardugo got a eight-figure deal
yeah,
for
a lot
12
of
books.
figures.
For 12 books. It was a lot of books. But
It was
anyway, it
big.
just, Twitter's always fun in these moments. People really just lose their minds. I mean, understandably, that's a lot of dang money. But you have a lot to say about people losing their minds more than the deal.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know what? I think the deal is the deal, right? Like it's a company's decision what they're going to invest their money in, and I think that Leigh Bardugo certainly has proven that Leigh Bardugo's been publishing with Macmillan for years and has I think it's like 10 or 11 books that have come out. So they're making their P&L probably on Leigh Bardugo and on Leigh Bardugo's books. They're not making P&Ls on comp titles. They know how she sells. They know the movies, they know everything, right? So
Yeah.
their valuation of 12 books over
Yeah.
however many years, and everybody keep in mind, we have no idea what those books are. They could be, I don't know, they could be like graphic novel editions of the books that she's already published.
Right.
They could be anything, right? They could be picture books, middle grade, YA, adult. She writes across the spectrum. So they could be so many different things. And I saw a lot on Twitter and from agents too. Like plenty of agents and other publishing people who were saying that this takes the money away from marginalized creators, away from smaller authors, away from the mid list,
Yeah.
away from. And I don't think that's true. And I've seen a lot of people sort of go back at that on Twitter too and say, no, that's not how it works. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that and a little bit why I don't think you should get all riled up by those big deals or a politician or a celebrity or a singer swooping in and having this memoir published for six figures. I don't think it's the Chicken Little moment that everybody thinks it is.
Yeah, we've discussed this before, that it's not a pie where there are only
Yes.
so many slices. That's not the way this works. So I think that's really important. Like, there's not a pie with 12 slices that Leigh Bardugo now took the whole pie and walked away, and there's nothing left for anybody else. First of all, from a very basic level, that would not give the publisher enough books to publish. They publish a certain number of books every month. So just on that basis alone, they have to fill those slots of numbers of books. And then people will say, well, that means they're not going to pay other people as much. But it doesn't work that way either, because the pie is not a financial pie either.
Right. And that money is not coming out right now in one fell swoop, too. So it's not money that's bleeding the next season dry because they're giving it all to Leigh Bardugo or anybody for that matter. That's money that's, the bigger the advance, the more that advance is broken down on all these different payment triggers. So, right. And across 12 books is a lot of different payments. And I don't think that it's like I've seen people saying, oh, she got 40 million for this. We don't know. Like, we don't know how much she got, or she's getting 20 million signing up front. I'm like, you don't know. You've not read the contract. But
you have no idea. And you have no idea how many years.
Right.
Those payments are probably easily 12 years, if not more.
Right. And I think that there's this like notion on Twitter that they know the deal better than the publisher does. And they can forecast this impending doom that the publisher can't. That when the publisher is looking at their budgets and their schedules and their, overhead and everything, and they're making the decision, and it just kind of grinds my gears a little bit that, Twitter makes these conversations and makes these big deals over a big deal.
Yeah, this happened too when the Obamas made their deal.
Yes, that was the other one I was thinking of, because the Obama's deal was huge.
Huge. And that it comes up a lot that it was the same thing, that the Obamas got that big deal and it took this money away. But the truth is, those books have earned out.
Oh, for sure. And they're selling across the world. Like, it's not just royalties that we have to think about. Like, they're selling translation. They're probably, most publishers in those big deals are keeping audio. Any other, book clubs, all of those subsidiary rights, that's all income. Premiums that they're selling to company, like all of these things that they can do with a book, they're probably doing for a book that big.
Right. And then that income is what the publisher, you pay for those big authors who are near guaranteed sales. And it gives the publisher the money to buy up those debuts and to pay those other authors where there is no guarantee. When they offer any author this kind of money, they run real numbers. They have very real discussions with
And not
their
just
sales
once.
force, not just once, with everybody on their team, Salesforce, marketing, subsidiary rights, every single person, to talk about how much money can you get when you sell this book. Therefore, we can offer this, because the publishers have to make a profit.
Yeah. And then I think about people that are like pretty much guaranteed sellers, right? Like Leigh Bardugo is a pretty much guaranteed seller. And we also have to consider she's got, 12 books on this deal. So she can have that first book come out that starts to make up her advance for the next 11 books before they even get paid. So
yeah, so that's what's a really interesting thing to keep in mind. When that first book goes on sale, it'll start to earn out the money that she potentially hasn't even received in advances yet. That starts to feed off of each other.
And yes, so that's what I wanted to say too. Like you said, it's not pie, but even further, every single book on a publisher's list are so deeply interconnected when you think about earnings, feeding, advances, and vice versa. Like they're all working together to make an overall profit that then is like budgeted however they're budgeting it. I'm not going to pretend to know, because that's what I'm getting annoyed about other people doing. They're budgeting however they're budgeting it, and then they're deciding what they can pay in advances going forward. So not every book is going to earn out. I get that. And not every book is going to be a huge success. But if the advance is that high, there's a good feeling that it could be. Like it could definitely get you there. And there's evidence that we can get there. So I don't think that they're just going to like slap $1 million on a book and then not ever do anything about it.
But that's a really good point, what you said, that not every book is going to earn out their advance. Well, if you have the big authors who will guarantee to earn out their advance and be making money year after year after year for years and years and years, that's the money that allows those books that don't earn out the advance to continue to get bought, because they have to have that money somewhere, because those books aren't making money that they can roll into other books.
But also, it's worth considering that when, you sell a book, your royalties are maybe 10, maximum 15%, right? Like usually in that range. I shouldn't say maximum because it's different everywhere, but around 10 to 15% for a hardcover. That's just your share. So the publisher, sure, they have their overhead and their co-agents, whatever, but they're getting a large chunk of the pie that technically does kind of earn back your advance, but just not on paper for what you know what I'm saying? Like for your share. So they do kind of earn back the advance a lot sooner than everyone thinks. Yeah. But it's just not on your paper. It's just not your payment for you from your share has not been earned back.
Right.
So they think when they make an offer, they think Leigh Bardugo will make 8 figures back in her share.
Yeah, and I mean, publishers aren't just paying this huge amounts of money to put these authors on the list for fun, right? They're building a whole list, and they have mid-list books, even though we say mid-list is dead. They have mid-list books that sell, but they don't make the kind of money that some of these bigger books are. I mean, I think of Matthew McConaughey's book, which has been out for maybe almost a year. I still see that book selling everywhere.
And the audio is huge.
Huge. And I am sure he was paid a ridiculous amount of money. I am also sure that was guaranteed profit for the publisher when they offered that, so that they could build their list in other areas as well. Also, it gives them a certain clout, right? You are the publisher of a certain big name author, and that helps them become noticed and their catalog noticed with booksellers and even readers and things like that, which helps the authors that they're publishing.
And then think of all the books that they paid just a fair standard advance, like a smaller advance, that blow up, that are huge, that are continuous earners year after year. Like the one that pops into my mind because it's always advertised to us how much it sold is they just made the movie. It was The Marsh.
Oh, The Marsh King's Daughter.
No, it was something Where the Crawdads Are.
Crawdad.
That one. That book has sold so many copies that I doubt that they foresaw that. I doubt that they paid.
No, I'm sure they did not pay
advance.
for that book.
Right.
Yeah.
So like there are still books that are becoming bestsellers that are, the Colleen Hoovers of it all. She wasn't always getting paid as much as she was. Like there are people, Taylor Jenkins Reid, there are big names that are selling copies hand over fist that are making money, that are helping finance other buying decisions from the publisher.
And also what's really important to keep in mind is that a debut author is a shot in the dark. They can do, I mean, we have all seen it, right? They buy this big book, they have big expectations, they do marketing, they do beautiful covers, they do everything right, and it doesn't sell.
Right.
And then they have another book that they don't pay nearly as much for, and somehow it blows out of the water. But when you're talking a celebrity or an author who has numbers and a proven track record, the advance they're paying may look absolutely absurd, and it might be, but they have numbers to base it off of. They already know who their audience is and how many books they buy, not just domestically, but that's audio, and that's internationally, and that's things like book club and potentially subsidiary or serial rights and all of these other things that play into coming up with that number.
Yeah. And again, they don't always get it right, but that goes both ways. They don't always get it right for the smaller book that blows up, or at least right as I would define it, which is a better deal. But I just think that we don't have all of the insights into the business end of an imprint for a reason.
Well, what I can say to you, having worked in the publishing house and been an editorial and seen the big deals and the small deals and seen books get rejected, I never heard, we just paid this much money for this, so therefore we can't buy this, or we can't offer as much on that, or we can't compete in an auction for that next big book because we already spent our money here. That was never part of the conversation. So I don't think paying big money to authors is part of the problem of marginalized authors not getting deals or not getting big enough deals. That's a separate problem. I'm not going to say that's not a problem. That's a totally separate problem. But I think tying the two together actually doesn't help marginalized authors get what they rightly deserve, because I think it sort of waylays the conversation in a way that publishers can just deny and not have to confront the real issues.
That's a good point. That is a very good point. Yeah, I mean, it serves an author to be part of an imprint that's bestsellers, big names. It serves you. So anyway, that's my rant. I appreciate the opportunity. So anytime there's another huge deal, please just come back to this video. Let me get all of your frustration out for you. And it's an evergreen, it's an evergreen moment.
It is. It'll happen again maybe next week.
Probably. Okay, so don't forget to like and subscribe. We post videos every Wednesday, and we'll see you back here next time.
Bye.